Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. This is Saeed, Introduction to Finance, and this is our sixth lecture. How are you guys? Today's lecture is on bonds. Today's topic is about bonds. So, what is bond? Is it James Bond or what? There are two main sources of finance for companies. So when they want to invest, when they want to grow their business, when they want to do something, the companies, there are two main sources of finance. One of them is issuing stocks. So some companies issue new stocks, and some companies, and sometimes companies raise funds through issuing debt instruments that is called bonds. So bonds means borrowing. So a company may want to borrow to grow its business, and how they borrow, they may get a loan or maybe they issue bonds, right? So today the whole topic will be about bonds, and I will show you first I will explain what we mean by bonds, and I will show you some of my drawing skills in the first video, right? I want to show you what we mean by bonds, and then I will show you how to compute the price of a bond, and I will give you some examples, and hopefully if we have time I will show you how to use your financial calculator Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. Let me just have a look at, yeah, okay. And next week is your midterm test. Hope you are ready for your midterm. The good thing about today's topic is if you are already comfortable with the formulas that I have shared with you, you will find today's topic easy. So you remember there were a few formulas like annuity, or before annuity I shared with you how to compute present value, future value of single cash flows, then multiple cash flows, and then I share with you annuity formula, and today we will use annuity formula for bond calculation. So basically bond is a debt instrument. Companies raise fund, or even the government, when we want to borrow money, they may raise fund, and this can be through issuing bonds. Now let's start the first video that I have prepared for today's lecture. Please pay attention because there are some activities too, and make sure that your financial calculator is with you, because we want to, hopefully, as I mentioned, we want to use the financial calculator today. So it's good to have your financial calculator with you, because later I may ask you to use it, right? So if you are ready, let's see the first video, which I explain what we mean by bonds. So let me show you how it works. So basically there are two parties. So one is the issuer of the bond. Issuer of the bonds. And the issuer of the bond, they will prepare the, so it's like a contract, it's an instrument. It's a financial instrument. So it's like a contract, and they will prepare this contract, and so this is bond. And they sell these contract in the market to the investors. This is the buyer of the bond. Buyer of the bond, issuer or seller of the bond. And so the issuer issue the bonds to raise funds. So the buyer buy the bond. In other words, the buyer is lending money. So they lend money to the issuer. So the issuer is borrowing money. So they borrow money. So the buyer needs to pay money to the issuer or borrower to receive this bond or debt instrument. There are certain things mentioned in the bond contract or this instrument. Of course, one is the name of the issuer. It can be a company or it can be the government. And then there are a few other things. One is called par value, or we name it face value. So let me write face value here. Face value or par value. This is the principle. And for corporate bonds, in most cases, this is $1,000. In most cases, this is for corporate bonds is $1,000. This means that at the end of the maturity, the issuer needs to pay the borrower. Sorry, the issuer or borrower needs to pay to the investor $1,000. So here I add one more thing: invest. Or we can call it investors who lend money, right? So lend money. Anyway, so one thing mentioned on the contract is face value or par value. So the par value is fixed, and in most cases for corporate bonds is $1,000. Then another thing is time to maturity, or let's say maturity. Means how long is the life of this bond. It can be 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, even can be just maybe a few days. But for bonds, the longest it has been issued so far, I think it has been issued by Coca-Cola, and it's 100 years. But it's not very common to issue very long-term bonds. So maturity means how long is the life of this instrument, for how long the borrower wants to borrow money from the investor. Another thing mentioned on the contract or on the instrument is coupon rate. Coupon rate means that how the interest that the borrower needs to pay to the investor. Because the borrower is borrowing money, so they need to pay interest to the lender. So it's a fixed interest mentioned on the bond instrument, and it's always a percentage of par value. For example, if the coupon rate is 5%, this means it's 5% of $1,000, means $50. In other words, the borrower needs to pay $50 every year to the investor. So it's a fixed interest that the borrower needs to pay to the investor, because the borrower is borrowing money, so the borrower needs to pay fixed interest. So this is another thing mentioned on the contract. So another one is whether this bond is the payment is per year or per 6 months or quarterly. For corporate bonds, most of them are semi-annually, but it can be maybe annual or maybe even different forms, but they need to mention this. But in most cases, it can be, the payment can be per year or semi-annual. It means every 6 months, the payment of the coupon. So these will be mentioned on the contract. So the borrower or issuer prepared this contract and sells in the market. An investor can buy this, means he will pay, the person will pay money to the issuer and will collect this, will take this, will buy this. And then later, based on the terms mentioned here in the contract, the issuer needs to pay the pay to the investor coupon, means the fixed payment every year or every 6 months. And then at the maturity, at the end of the contract, the borrower needs to pay face value to the investor, which, as I said, for corporate bonds is usually $1,000. So based on this, let's draw the timeline. Then it will be easier for us to do the calculation and compute the bond price and construct the formula. So based on my explanation, the timeline will be something like this. This is today. This is the maturity. Let's say N. So suppose the N-year bond, 5-year, 10 years bond. And then we have T1, T2, and it goes to Tn. And let's say it's annual, so they pay per year. The coupons are paid per year. So suppose that these are years and the payment will be made per year. So what's the payment? Is the coupon. So the coupon will be paid every year until the maturity. And then at the end of the maturity, par value or face value will be paid to the investor as well. So this is the timeline. So as you can see, it's the fixed payment, the coupon, every period, or if it's annual case, every year. And then at the maturity, the par value will be paid to the investor. And that's all. This is the end of the story. So now we want to know what's the price of this instrument. Suppose you are an investor and you go to the market and you want to invest or you want to buy bonds. So how you determine the price? You need to know what are the future cash flows, and then you discount them to the present time. This is the common method, most common methods to to compute the price of most of the instruments in finance, most of the financial instruments. So actually there is no new formula we want to use here, although if you look at your textbook you will see, oh, there is a new formula, but actually that formula is derived from the formulas that you already have learned. So the method we use is cash flow method to compute the price of this instrument. This means that we need to first identify the future cash flows. We will use the same method later for computing the stock price. So the first step is to compute, to estimate, to identify the future cash flows. Then we need to discount those cash flows to the present time at the interest rate or required rate of return that we have determined, and then this is the price. So here, how can we compute the present value of these future cash flows? One way is to discount them one by one. So we have some cash flows for n years, C, and then par value. We discount them one by one. Another method is, as here we have the same cash flow, C, for limited number of years, we can use annuity formula. You remember annuity is used when you have the same cash flow for limited number of periods. And here we have the same cash flows for n years or n periods, right? So we can use annuity formula. And then we have one single cash flow, which is par value, and we discount this to the present time separately and add it to it. So let's compute the present value of these cash flows. So present value is the discounted value of these C's, these cash flows, which are the same for limited number of periods. So it's annuity. And the formula for annuity is cash flow multiplied by 1 minus 1 plus R power n divided by R. So this represents all these C's, and it discounts them to the present time. Plus, we haven't discounted the par value yet, so I discount this one to the present time separately. Plus, par value or face value is another name for par value, divided by 1 plus R. For how many periods? N periods. What is this? This is the formula that you already have seen, the discounting formula. You remember present value is future value over 1 plus R power n. It's the same formula, right? So we discounted all future cash flows to the present time. And this is the price of the bond. So I can name this price. Price, current price of the bond. Because in finance, this is one of the most common methods. I told you that to compute the price of an instrument, we identify the future cash flows. Then we discount them to the present time. And this is the price. So suppose the price that you compute is, for example, $900. Then you go to the market and you see the bond has been priced at $920. So based on your calculation, assume that the price should be $900, but you see in the market is $920. So what do you do? Will you buy it? No, because it's overpriced, right? It's too expensive. Based on your estimation, it should be 900, but in the market it's 920, so you won't buy it. But assume that based on your calculation is 900, but in the market now it's traded at 860, so you will buy it because in the market it's cheaper than your expectation, right? So anyway, this is the way we compute the bond price. Okay, so now you understand what we mean by bonds, and you understand how the formula is constructed. But let me give you more information. And I just noticed that in the chat box you asked me about the parameters and the parameters that you can, in the previous topic you used to key in the data into the financial calculator. Okay, be patient. I will share all information that you need in today's lecture, right? So let's watch the rest of this video and yep. And then I will show you some examples, right? So for now, you just know that the bond is a debt instrument, and it has periodic payments, right? So it's called coupon, and you learn how to compute these coupon payments based on the coupon rate, and it can be annual, semi-annual. I will give you more information. Don't worry. Let me just finish the first video, right? I will summarize all these things here. Coupon rate is C, or coupon payment is coupon rate percentage of par value, right? Coupon rate percentage of par value. Par value is usually for corporate bonds is $1,000. So it's coupon rate percentage of $1,000. So if coupon rate is 5%, so 5% of $1,000, $50. If it's 6%, 6% of $1,000 is $60. This is C, right? R is interest rate per period, not per year. So if the bond pay per year, this is per year. If the bond pay per 6 months or semi-annually, so this means that the interest rate per 6 months will be here. Actually, interest rate has another name as well in bonds. We call it yield to maturity. So this interest rate also, it has another name, yield to maturity. It's another term referring to interest rate. Okay. Next one is here, or N. N is number of periods, not number of years. Periods till maturity. So when the bond is a 10-year bond and it pays annually, means N is 10. If, for example, the bond is 5 years till maturity, but it's semi-annual, so this means 5 years until maturity, and every year 2 periods means 10. Anyway, so this is number of periods till maturity. Then we have par value there. Par value. Par value or face value is a fixed value that is mentioned on the bond instrument. And in most cases, usually, as I said, is $1,000. So if I didn't give you this in the exam, you need to assume it's $1,000. And PV, of course, is the price. It's price of the bond today. So there are 5 parameters that we need to include in the calculation of bond price. Before showing you how to use the financial calculator, I want to show you something here. As you can see, we have 4 parameters that impact price of the bond. So one is the coupon payment. One is the interest rate, number of periods till maturity, and par value. So these are the 4 parameters that impact price of the bond. Coupon is fixed, is constant. The time that the issuer issues the bond, they already have mentioned the coupon rate. So it won't change until the maturity. It's fixed. It's the fixed interest, fixed payment that the issuer will pay to the investor. So this is fixed. This won't change at all. N, number of periods till maturity. This is fixed. The time they issue the bond, it's very clearly mentioned. It's clearly mentioned that whether this is a 2-year bond, 5-year bond, 10 years bond, or 30 years bond. So this is constant. N is constant. Par value is fixed. It's already mentioned on the instrument. So on the contract or bond indenture. So for corporate bonds, as I said, it's mostly $1,000. So this $1,000 is $1,000. It won't change until the maturity that the investor will receive $1,000. So the issuer will pay $1,000, and this is the end of the contract, right? So this won't change. This won't change. It's always $1,000 if it's $1,000, right? So this N is constant. This C is constant. Par value is constant, right? And yeah. So C, N, and par value are constant. So the only thing that may change is R, interest rate. R may change, right? R may change. Because interest rate in the market may change, right? Sometimes the economy is good, sometimes the economy is not good. It's maybe recession, so the interest rate, inflation interest rate will change. And as you can see here, there is a negative relationship between interest rate and price of the bond. Means by increasing interest rate, the price of the bond will go down. By reducing the interest rate, the price of the bond will go up because the R is in the denominator of the formula. So there is a negative relationship between interest rate and price. And this is the only thing, it seems, in the formula, as you can see, that impact the bond price. So those bondholders, those who buy bonds, they carefully, every day, let's say, they check the interest rate in the market, because by increasing the interest rate, the value of their instruments will go down. By reducing the interest rate, the value of their investment, their bonds will go up. Why this happens? You can see, because you can compute it, right? There is another reason as well. Suppose today a company issues a, let's say, 10% bond. Based on the market interest rate, the company decides to issue a 10% bond. So if it's a 10% bond, this means that the company promises to pay 10% coupon every, let's say, year to the investor. So it's a fixed interest, a fixed payment that the company promises to pay to the investor, right? So when they issue the 10% bond, this means if it's a 20-year bond, for the next 20 years, the company promises, the issuer promises to pay 10% of $1,000 means $100. $100 interest fixed payment to the investor. Now, assume that a few months later, the interest rate in the market goes down to, for example, 1%. Now, what happens? The company is still paying 10% fixed interest to the investors, but actually in the market, the interest rate is 1%. So the company, the issuer of the bond is paying very high interest rate, while in the market, the interest rate has dropped to just 1%, right? So now, this contract is very valuable because a person who owns this contract, this bond, is receiving 10% interest rate, but in the market interest rate is just 1%. So it becomes very valuable. So what happens? The demand for this bond will increase. So the price of these bonds will increase. You see? Or let's assume that the same story, the company, the issuer has issued a bond that promises to pay 10% for the next 20 years. But later, the interest rate goes up in the market to 20%. So now investors are not happy because they have, the investor who already bought this bond, the investor has a bond that is paying him 10% interest, but in the market, the interest rate is 20%. So the investors don't like it because they are receiving very low interest compared with the market interest rate. So what happened? The demand for this bond will reduce. Less people are interested in this instrument, and people prefer to sell it, right? To get ready to get ready to sell it because it's paying them less than the market interest rate. So what happens? The supply, I mean, people who have this bond, the supply will increase, people want to sell it, and less people are interested to buy it. So the demand will reduce, the supply will increase. Supply in terms of those who want to sell. So what happens? The price will go down. So interest rate went up in the market, price went down. So you see, based on my explanation, there is a negative relationship between interest rate and price of the bond. And we already actually saw this in the formula. When interest rate goes up, price will go down because interest rate is in the denominator of the formula. So, so there are 5 parameters, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you need to include in the equation, in the formula. Always, you have 4 of them, and you are required to compute the 5th one, right? So sometimes I may give you the C, R, N par value, and I ask you to compute the price of the bond. Sometimes I may give you, in some cases, maybe I will give you C, N, par, and PV, and I ask you to compute the yield to maturity or interest rate, right? So as long as you have 4 of them, you can compute the 5th one. And for some of them, the formula will be a bit difficult to use. For example, if I ask you to find R, it's a bit more difficult because you need to you need to be good in math to be able to solve this equation when you want to find R, right? Or you want to find N. So in these cases, I suggest you use a financial calculator. So later I will show you how to use the financial calculator to compute the bond price or maybe interest rate or N, and it's much easier than the formula, but you need to have a very good understanding of the formula. Okay, let's let's get back to our example of the company that issued 10% interest rate bond. So that company, in the example that I gave you, the first example, the company has issued a 10% interest rate bond, right? And then the interest rate drops to 1%. Then what happened? The price of the bond increased, right? And in the second scenario, the interest rate increased, so the bond price dropped, right? So there's a negative relationship between them. Well, okay, I saw that some of you are confused. Let me see. Something just came to my mind. I want to share. I just was creating a slide to share. I was searching. Is it raining there? I mean, here is raining. I want to share something with you. Hold on. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. This was not part of the plan. I didn't want to, so I'm just creating one slide to answer your questions. Okay, I made the slide. Now let me share it with you. Okay. You know, some of you were confused about the difference between the what is called interest rate and coupon rates, right? The calculator is not available in your country. Which country you're? Okay, later text me. Okay, later text me to see how I can help you. So this is a real example of a coupon. Of a bond, right? This is a real example of a bond. So what do you see here? Okay, actually these days is not like this. I mean, this is a picture of a bond years ago. Now everything is electronic and they don't print out a bond, right? So what you see here is this is the company name, the company that issued the bond. So as I mentioned, when a company wants to borrow, they may issue bonds, right? So what is the meaning of issuing bonds? Means they prepare this contract or this piece of paper and then go to the market and sell it to the investors. Why investors buy this? Because investors who buy this and keep this, they will receive interest, right? So based on this contract, based on this piece of paper, they will receive interest later. So they go to the market, a company like Coca-Cola, Petronas, whatever, they can issue these bonds and sell it in the market. What do you see here? There is 1,000 here, right? This is the par value. This means those who have this piece of paper, this contract, at the maturity, they will receive $1,000, right? This is called par value or face value. It's fixed. You see, it's fixed. It doesn't change. Printed out there. So it's always there, right? $1,000. So you just keep it till maturity. You will get $1,000 if you show this piece of paper, this contract, right? This instrument. What else do you see? I'm not sure whether it's clear or not. Maybe you can use the full screen mode of your YouTube window. So the other thing you see is here. You see, it's 1983. 1983. What? I'm not sure whether you see it or not, but okay, let me zoom in. Maybe I can. I'm not sure how big I can make it. Okay, do you see now? Hopefully you see it. So it's 1983. 1983 is the maturity, this expiration date. Maybe this was issued in 1970. I don't remember. I don't know, right? But the expiration date, the maturity is 1983. This means at 1983, you just show this to the company, return this to the company, and receive $1,000, right? So this is the expiration date. This is fixed, right? So the maturity won't change. It means it has a life. This contract has a life, right? 5 years, 10 years, or maybe, I don't know. As I said, Coca-Cola issued 100 years, 1 years ago. What else do you see here? So this maturity will help you to, it will show you how many periods you have till maturity, right? And another thing that you can see here is, so this is par value, this is the maturity or expiration date, or and this shows actually, oh guys, sorry, I just noticed that my mouse is, okay, sorry, this is 1983, do you see? So this 1983, this is the maturity or expiration date, right? So this shows that when is the end of life of this contract, right? So $1,000 here. Sorry, I just noticed that. Yeah. Anyway, this $1,000 is a par value, right? It's fixed. It's printed out there, and this 1983 is printed out there. Is the maturity. It will help you to compute number of periods till maturity. And what else do you see here? Around 8+%, right? Let's say 8%, right? So this 8% is the coupon rate. This is printed out on this contract. This won't change, it's fixed, it's always there, right? So what does it show? This shows, let's say 8, right? I don't want to explain what is this 5/8, so just ignore it. So this 8% is always there. This means 8% of this $1,000 is the fixed interest you will receive. So those who have this piece of paper, those who have this contract, they know how much is the interest they will receive. It's 8% of $1,000 means $80. So suppose today is 1980 and you bought this bond. This means every year till 1983 you will receive $80, right? So this is the coupon rate. You see, it's in percentage. So you should compute coupon payment means 8% of $1,000. So this coupon payment is not 8% of selling price. It's not 8% of purchase price. It's 8% of what is printed out here, which is par value. So it's fixed. The coupon rate is fixed. The coupon payment is fixed. But interest rate is not fixed, because interest rate is something in the market, right? Every day it may change. Tomorrow maybe the central bank, the government, or what, tomorrow maybe they will change based on the economy, or actually I don't want to go into details how interest rate is determined, but anyway. So tomorrow the interest rate may go up or down. Next week maybe will go up, 2 months later go down, right? So interest rate, you cannot lock in the interest rate. So the company cannot print out interest rate and say, okay, this is the fixed market interest rate in the next 2 years. No, it's out of control, right? It's beyond the company's power. So interest rate is interest rate in the market. Is different from the coupon that company is promising. So the coupon payment is what you can see here, already printed out on the contract. And the company promises to give you 8%. 8% of $1,000. So you know, okay, this company will pay me $80 every year. But we have interest rate in the market, right? Which may change every day. Now, so this is actually a bond, right? And this is a real example of a bond. But as I said, these days you don't see these type of bonds usually, anyway. So this is called coupon bonds because there used to be some coupons attached to this bond, so you could just detach the coupon and post it or send it to the office, the company, and just receive a check, right? But these days, no, there is no coupon bonds like this, but the name still is coupon bonds, right? So anyway, so still we have coupon bonds, but there is no physical coupon, right? Everything is electronic because the government wants to make sure that how much money you are receiving to for tax things, right? For tax. Anyway, let me go back here. Yep. So I hope I could answer your question. Let me find the chat box. Yep. Okay. Any other question related to no? Okay. Now, how to determine N? In the example that I just provided, it was 1983, right? The maturity was 1980. Suppose it's 1980. So if today is 1980, how many years you have till 1983? You have 3 years. So N is 3, right? 4,600. I don't know. What is it? Yeah, I don't know what is the 4,600 thing. Oh no, that one is a number. No, that one is a reference number. Yeah, it was not dollar in the picture. I'm just checking it. It's written number, so maybe it's reference number or something. And yep, okay, guys. Yeah, as I said, this was not part of the plan, so I just prepared this. I found this picture and inserted in the slide and explained to you. So okay, now the next question is, the company will give us interest rate based on which rate? So the company will determine at what interest rate they issue the bond, right? So for this module, we won't discuss this in details, right? So how the company will determine the interest rate. Yeah, actually later, if you take other subjects like financial markets, we will explain to you how the company can estimate the interest rate that they want to promise. It means not the interest rate, the coupon rate. Let's call it coupon rate, right? So there are two things, coupon and interest. Interest rate is market interest rate. Coupon rate is the fixed payment that the company promises to pay you every year. Okay, about the final exam, I will explain later to you, but yeah, so your question is about final exam. I will explain later to you. And can we use financial calculator? Yes, of course you can use financial calculator. Then no need to write the formula or use the formula. Okay, guys. Now, what I want to do is, now we don't have much time. Okay, let me show you an example. Then, yeah. I think when we use an example, it will be easier to follow. Let's watch an example, then we will discuss further. Compute the price of a 7-year bond if coupon rate is 14% and interest rate is 16%. Okay, so when you want to compute the bond price, always there are 5 parameters. Keep this in mind. There are 5 parameters. Always you have 4 of them, and you are required to find the 5th one. So the 5 parameters, I list them here. It's future value is the first one. So in the bond calculation, if you don't sell the bond earlier, or if it's not a callable bond, which is not in the scope of this subject. So future value in this example, for example, is face value or par value, let's say. And here, because I didn't give you the face value or future or par value, we assume is $1,000. So the first parameter is face value. Then the second parameter is, let's say, it's N. It's number of periods until maturity. Then its interest rate is interest rate per period. This is not per year, this is per period. Then we have PMT, which is coupon rate percentage of par value. Par value, as I said, usually in corporate bonds is $1,000. So percentage of $1,000. For example, if the coupon rate is 5%, here is 14%, right? The coupon rate is 14%. So 14% of par value of $1,000 means 140. And in this question, we have these four. And the fifth one is price. Price of the bond. So these are the 5 parameters. So you need to memorize them. Always there are 5 parameters. Always you have 4 of them, and then you are required to find the 5th one. Sometimes I ask you to compute the price, sometimes N, sometimes PMT, yield to maturity, or future value. Another name for interest rate is yield to maturity. So if you want to use a financial calculator, these are the label for the buttons you need to use. Actually, for Texas Instrument BA2 Plus, it's the 3rd row of the calculator. FV, N, I over Y, PMT, PV. These are the 5 parameters. If you want to use the formula, you need this. You will be using these 5. And even if you want to use the financial calculator, the same 5. But in the calculator, it's exactly the same names on the buttons you can find, and the keys you can find on the financial calculator. Okay, now, for this question, let's assume first it's annual payment. I mean, we haven't mentioned, so by default, we should assume it's annual, means the payment happens every year. The coupon payment is paid per year. But it can be semi-annual, means the coupon payment can be twice a year. So, okay, let's compute these based on the assumption of annual and semi-annual. So here I construct the table. Assuming that first it's annual and then semi. Because usually the bonds pay annually or semi-annually. So let's complete this table like this. So first, FV or face value. What is the face value of this bond? I didn't give it here, so we assume, as I said, by default, when it's not given to you, you need to assume is $1,000. It's the last payment of the bond. So face value is $1,000. FV or par value is $1,000. Then number of periods till maturity. How many years till maturity? It's a 7-year bond. So this means 7 years till maturity. So it's 7. Interest rate per period. It's annual, so it means period is year. So how many percent per year? It's 16% interest rate. So I write here 16. Then PMT means coupon percent of par value. Okay, it's 14% coupon rate, 14% of $1,000. So 14% of $1,000 means 140. And then price, we want to compute the price. So if you want to use the formula for the price, you need to discount the coupons that happens every year and par value separately. So the formula, as you remember, was this. So two component, one is discounting the coupons and then discounting the face value. So you just replace these four into the formula and compute the present value. So C is actually the payment. So it will be 140, then interest rate is 16%, so 0.16. Then 1 minus 1.16, and the power is how many periods till maturity? 7 periods, or 7 years in this case, plus 1,000 divided by 1.16, and power is 7. So you can compute it. Or you may use the financial calculator. You key in these four and then you press CPT and PV and you get the answer. And in this case, the price is 919.23. Now let's assume that it's a semi-annual bond, means the payments are paid twice a year. So the period is 6 months. So you need to adjust all this based on the semi-annual assumption. So face value is just one payment. It happens at the end of the maturity. So just one payment at the end of the maturity, 1,000. So it's independent from the periods. So $1,000 won't change for semi-annual. So just write 1,000. The same thing will be here. What about number of periods? Number of periods till maturity is 7 years, and each year it's, because it's semi, each year we have 2 periods. So 7 years till maturity, every year 2 periods, so 14 periods till maturity. Interest rate per period. Interest rate per period is 16% per year, but here period is 6 months. 16% per year means divided by 2, 8% per 6 months, right? So the interest rate per period or interest rate per 6 months is 8% because per year is 16. So per 6 months is 8%. 8% interest rate. Then payment, coupon per year, because it was annual, per year is 140. So per period means if, okay, so the assumption is you will receive $140 payment every year. In other words, you will receive $70 every 6 months. $100 every year. In other words, $70 every 6 months, right? It's the same thing. Now you key in all these data, these 4, into the calculator, and then you press CPT and PV, and you will get 917.56. This is the price of this one. So first I assume that the same question, first I assume that the payments are per year, annual, means the coupons are paid once a year. Then I assume that the coupons are paid twice a year. So I adjusted these 3. So these are the 3 things you need to adjust when it's semi-annual. So I computed the price based on the assumption that it's semi-annual payment. So if you want to use the formula for semi-annual, you just need to enter all these things that you have here into the formula. So this will be 70, this will be 8, this will be 14, and here also, but 1,000 won't change. So you make changes and you compute, and you should get the same answer, 917.56. So this is the way we compute the bond price. This is the formula, and this is the way we use the financial calculator, and done. Okay. I hope the example helped you to understand this topic better. Hold on. So what I want to do is, there are 2 more examples that I want to share with you. But today my plan was to show you how to use the financial calculator too. Let's see whether we have enough time for it. I'm just thinking to, let's see. Yeah, I'm a bit hungry. But anyway, we are here to learn. So hope you have some food with yourself. So I just want to have some ice cream. Here the lighting is not really good. So here you see, I think here is better. So anyway, guys, let's do an activity first. Then I will show you I just want to wake you up. I will show you how to use the financial calculator. So let's do an activity. Where is this activity? Okay. Are you ready? Okay, again we want to use Slido. So okay, I share the QR code and the link with you. Where is it? Yep. Yes, Sheikh. If interest rate and coupon rate are the same, the price will be par value. Yeah, I wish I could. I don't have, I need to go for shopping after this class. I need to buy some vegetables for my salad. Okay. Yeah, I will teach you financial calculator after this activity, right? Just to, yeah, if I didn't give you the 187, okay. So let's review the questions. Let me display. Okay, let's review the questions. I deactivated 3, 2, 1. So let's go through the questions. I forgot, every week I forget how we check the questions. I think it was like this. Oh, is it? Actually, I don't know what is Among Us. Today, one of my friends, she told me about it. So can you please explain to me how to play this game? And I just downloaded a few backgrounds. I really have no idea how to play this game. I have no idea. So please tell me how we can play Among Us. And some of you mentioned PUBG, I don't know, is it FIFA? Okay. Okay, so it seems the majority suggested Among Us, but I need to know how to play. So, question number 2. Let's start with question number 1. You already bought a 2-year bond last year. Today you read in the news that interest rates will increase next year. This means the value of your bond next year will... What is the answer? Let's see what is your answer. Okay, guys, there is a negative relationship between market interest rate and bond value, right? If you look at the formula, in the denominator is interest rate. And the only thing that is changing, as I mentioned in the video, is market interest rate. The rest, coupon rate, par value, and everything is already there. The only thing that may change is market interest rate. So market interest rate goes up, the denominator will increase, so the value of bond will drop, right? And why? Because suppose the interest rate that a bond is offering to you is 10%, right? But the market interest rate is 20%. So the coupon rate that the bond is offering you is 10%, but the market interest rate is 20%. Is this a good contract? No, because you can earn even enough as much as the market interest rate. So even if you put your money in a bank account, you can earn more, you can earn 20%. But this bond is offering you 10%. So less interest. As a result, the demand for this bond will be less, let's say like this, right? And the price will be less. So, and when the market interest rate goes up, so the bond value will go down because it's less attractive, because the bond is an instrument that is offering you the fixed interest, the same, the fixed coupon, right? The fixed coupon, but the market interest rate has increased and maybe it's higher than the coupon rate, so less interest for it. And the next question is, there is a 5-year bond with a coupon rate of 8% if today's market interest rate is 6%. Okay, we just discussed this. If coupon rate, let's see first your answers. Oh, very close. These two are very close. There is a 5-year bond. Okay, the coupon rate is 8%. Market interest is less than the coupon rate. So this means this is a very good instrument. This is a good investment. This bond is paying you more than interest rate, right? It's paying you more than the market interest rate. This means it's better to buy this bond rather than putting your money in a bank account. This means you will pay more for this bond, right? Yep. Okay, so you will pay more. This is called premium bonds. Means the price is higher than par value because they pay you higher than the market. Okay, so this was just to check whether you are answering, whether you are listening, whether you are following. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how to use the financial calculator. Where is it? Here. Yep. Let me remove this, and now we have, you see, I have a financial calculator here. And this is the same question that I showed you in the slide. Now I want to use the financial calculator and answer this question. So how to, oh, the chat, okay, I need to put this chat box somewhere else because it's distracting. It is distracting. Where is the chat box? Okay, I hide it. Okay, now how to compute the bond price. This is the question. Compute the price of a 7-year bond if coupon rate is 14% and interest rate is 16%. Now, how to start using the financial calculator Texas Instrument BA2 Plus. First, what's the first step? What is the very first step to use financial calculator? Some of you asked me how to download this. Actually, I don't know. The Texas Instrument, they provide this. Maybe you can buy from them, right? Maybe you can contact them and see whether you can buy it from them. So they, yeah, I got it from Texas Instrument because I want to teach you. So I got one calculator and one of these. Yeah, if it's for free, give me the link. I don't know because, yeah, it seems, yeah, they didn't give us. It was complimentary to all lecturers. So because we want to use it for teaching. So now guys, how to start, how to use the financial calculator. Write in the chat box what's the first step. Okay, this is your financial calculator and let me know what is the first step to use the financial calculator. Yes, we need to switch it on. Otherwise it won't work. I promise. I have tried this before. You need to switch it on. And the second step, clear the memory. Clear the memory, right? Not your memory. Financial calculator memory. So you need to clear the memory of the calculator. Trust me, do it every time. Even if you want to double check your answer. Oh, what happened to my eye? Even if you want to double check your answer, clear the memory. Trust me, otherwise you may get the wrong answer. This is one of the issues of Texas Instruments. So how to clear the memory? Again, not your memory. Financial calculator memory. Financial calculator memory. How to do it? The method I want to teach you is reset factory. So it will reset, it will remove everything from the memory, right? So press second, plus minus, you see, plus minus. Yeah, and if you, there is a label button there, right? You see the label. I don't know why it doesn't show me the mouse when I put it over the, oh. Yeah, I don't know why it's not matched. Anyway, so press the reset button. So first, second, then plus minus. Then you see here on the screen of the calculator, enter. It's asking, do you want to reset? If yes, press enter. Where is enter? Here. And just want to check something to see whether you get the, yeah, okay. Then we already reset the memory. Now we want to quit from this mode. So press second, then press CPT or quit. Now the calculator is ready to be used, right? Now, how to answer this question? To answer this question, you remember I said for bond calculation, you have five you have, oh, sorry. You have five parameters. What are the five parameters? For example, FV means future value, and then let's say N, CPT, I over Y, and then we compute present value, right? Now, let's assume that this is what is called annual payment, right? Means once a year they pay you. So for FE, what is the FE? FE means the last payment, the last big payment that you receive. And in this case, if you wait for 7 years, you will receive $1,000 par value. You may ask, where is 1,000? I said, when I don't give you par value, just assume it's $1,000. So I write $1,000 here. Then N, how many periods till maturity? 7 years till maturity, and this is an annual bond. So 7 periods. Then CPT. CPT means, not CPT, sorry. PMT. Then PMT. PMT means payment, coupon payments. So it's 7%, oh sorry, 14%, coupon rate is 14%. It's 14% of $1,000 of par value. It's always percentage of par value. This means this is $140. So every year they will pay you a coupon of $140. What is the market interest rate? It's 16%, right? Now let's compute. So we just key in all these into the calculator. So let's start with FV. FV. You see all buttons that you will use for the calculation are here. The third row from the top. So 1, 2, 3 here. All five keys are here. So when you want to enter, first enter 1,000. When key in 1,000, then press FV, right? So where is the button for 1,000? There is no button for 1,000, but you can press 1, You can press, sorry, where is it? You can press 1 1 0 0 0, then press FE. This means, you see now the triangle, you see the triangle here on the screen. This means already 1000 is assigned to future value. So done. 1000 is in future value. Very good. The next parameter is 7. We need to assign 7. We need to assign 7 to n. So I press 7, then I press n. You see again, there is a triangle is assigned to n. Then next one, 140, press 140, is assigned to PMT. So press PMT here. PMT. Again, the triangle means 140 is in payment or coupon. And 16 is I over Y, interest rate. So I press I over Y. Okay, we already entered everything into the calculator. Now press CPT, means compute. Compute what? Compute present value, and present value is here. And this is the price. So it's 919.23. This is the price. That's all. Now, what if it's semi? This means twice a year they pay you. So future value is the same because it's independent from period. Future value is one-time payment at the end, so it's still $1,000. And number of periods. When the period is year, 7 years means 7 periods. But when it's semi-annual means every year there are 2 periods. So 7 years means 14 periods. So 7 multiplied by 2 means 14 periods. $140, based on the calculation we did here, $140 is paid every year. So every year we have 2 periods. How much per period? 140 divided by 2 means 70. Because it's semi, means every 6 months you will receive 70. Interest rate. In a year, interest rate is 16%. So in 6 months, interest rate is 8%, right? Now we want to compute present value. Again, how to do? First, reset the calculator. Press second, press plus minus, press enter, second, quit, right? You see the mouse is not, I don't know what's wrong with this. So the mouse is not what you see, when I put my mouse, for example, now I put it on N, but what you see is on 4. I don't know why. So anyway, I try my best to explain. Anyway, so now how to key in the values. So press 1000, so 1000, then this will go to FE. FE here is here. So I press FE. You see, I got the triangle. This means done. Then 14 in N. Press 14, then press N. N is here. So N. Next one, 70. 70 and PMT. PMT is here, right? Okay. Then 8% interest. Press 8. 8. Then assign it to I over Y, means interest, market interest rate, or yield to maturity interest rate. Now compute CPT, present value PV. And the price is 917.56. Let me check. So I want to check whether my answer is correct. Yes, my answer is correct. So this is the way we use the financial calculator to compute the present value of a bond. Very easy. There are just 5 parameters. You identify 4 of them, and then you compute the 5th one, right? But every time you need to make sure that you have reset the memory, right? Okay, let me just have a look at the chat box. PMT is coupon payment. PMT is coupon payment. Okay. Okay, I don't see any question, so we can continue. Okay, now I want to show you quickly. Where is it? Do you see, where is my Richie, which question? If interest rate is higher than coupon rate, is it a bad investment? Interest rate is higher than coupon. No, if interest rate is higher than coupon rate, it depends. If you want to go to the market, the price is already adjusted, means the price will be cheaper, right? The price is cheaper. So if you want to invest, you just need to predict what will be the interest rate in the future, right? So I cannot say, the question is not clear, Richie, to answer. You already have a bond. If you already have a bond and interest rate goes up, this is a bad news for you. But if you have not bought any bond and you go to the market, there is a bond that interest rate is higher than coupon rate, this means the bond is cheaper. So the value you pay is cheaper, right? So I cannot say it's a bad investment because it's cheaper, right? So you pay less for the bond. Okay, now what I want to do, so I already showed you how to compute present value, but I want to just show you one more example, then one more. Hold on, where is it? Just let me show you one more example. As I mentioned, when you want to compute yield to maturity or number of periods for bonds, it's easier to use a financial calculator. Using the formula can be a bit difficult for those who are not good in math. Let's answer this question. I will show you how to extract the information and then later to see how to use the financial calculator TASES instrument BA2+. Please watch the video about the calculator itself. But the most important thing for bonds is to extract the information and prepare it for the calculator or the formula. Let's answer this question. I already showed you how to compute the bond price, but here we want to compute yield to maturity. Yield to maturity is another term we use for interest rate. So compute yield to maturity of a 15-year bond with a 10% coupon rate if it's priced at $928.09 and we assume par value is $1,000. It means today's price of a bond is $928. Now we want to know if the coupon rate is 10%, what will be our yield to maturity, how much we earn on this bond. So when you want to answer bond questions, you need to keep this in mind, that always there are 5 parameters and you have 4 of them, you need to compute the 5th one. So the 5 parameters are FV, means future value, and in this case, so these FE, when you don't sell the bond earlier or it's not a callable bond, which is not in the scope of this subject, it's always face value or par value, and in most cases it's $1,000. So if I didn't give you the face value, just assume, or par value, assume it's $1,000. So let's draw a table. So there are the 5 parameters, FV. Then we have the next, PV. PV means the price of the bond. So this is price. This is face value. Or another name is par value. And then we have N, number of periods till maturity, right? And then we have PMT. This is the coupon percentage of par or of face value. means percentage of $1,000, right? And then in this question, we want to compute I over Y, or interest rate per period, right? I over Y is interest rate per period, right? Interest rate per period. Okay, these are the 5 parameters. Now, I want to answer these questions first, assuming it's an annual bond, means the payments are per year, and then we assume it's semi-annual. So annual means the payments, the coupons are paid once a year. So let's extract the information. Face value or par value is given to you $1,000. Then price. The price of this bond is 928.09. Number of periods till maturity. It's a 15-year bond, and we assume it's annual, so this means the period is year. If it's year, so we have 15 years, means 15 periods. So number of periods is 15. PMT, coupon percentage of par. So the coupon rate is 10%. 10% of par. Par is, or face value is 1,000. So 10% of $1,000 is $100. 10% of $1,000 is $100. Now we want to compute interest rate. As I said, it's a bit difficult using the formula for this case, for computing the interest rate. So you may use the financial calculator. So you need to key in this information and then you compute the interest rate. But it's a bit tricky. Why? Please watch the video on how to compute the interest rate for yield to maturity for the for the bonds, and you will see the problem. You will see the thing you need to pay attention to. But anyway, if you use the financial calculator properly, you will get 11%. So I just write the answer here. Now let's assume it's semi-annually. Means the coupon payments is paid, twice a year. It means they split these payments, where is it, PMT, into 2 payments every 6 months. So now we need to adjust these 4 parameters based on the assumption of semi-annual. So face value is just 1 payment happen at the end of the maturity. You see, this is the timeline of the bond. It's a 15-year bond, so 15. It's good to recap this. So it's T1, T2, T3, and goes to T15. I'm assuming there's an annual. I'm just drawing the timeline based on the annual assumption. So the story of bond was, there is a payment here, $100. So every year it will be paid $100. And then at the maturity, it will be paid $1,000 par value to the investor. So the investor who buys this instrument will receive $100 every year. And then at the end of year 15, $1,000 par value, and done. This is the end of the contract. So we are, but here we assume that we know the price. The price is 928.09. So we know the PV, we know the FV, and we know the payments. Now we want to compute interest rate, right? Now, let's assume it's semi-annually. So for semi-annually, we need to adjust every payment per period. For face value, it just happens once at the end of the maturity. It's $1,000 paid at the end of the maturity. So it's independent from period. It doesn't happen every year. So we just write, because it's single payment, we just write $1,000, the same here. For price also, it's a single payment. It's independent. You see, it's independent from periods. It happens once. So I write the price here again. It doesn't change. The same thing here. But for number of periods, when it was annual, it was 15 years till maturity. 15 periods till maturity. But now, for semi, we assume every year we have 2 periods. Every year 2 periods means 15 years till maturity means 15 years till maturity. Every year 2 periods means 30 periods. For the payment, $100 per year means every 6 months, $50, right? Divide by 2. So now if you enter this into the calculator, what you will get is 5 point, and then you compute I over Y is 5.494%. This is interest rate per period, but yield to maturity is per year. Always when you report yield to maturity is reported per year. But what you got here is per period. Why is per period? Because whatever you entered into the calculator was per period, right? So the output will be per period as well. So the input, these two were per period. So the output will be per period as well. And the period was 6 months. So this is the interest rate for 6 months, right? So there's no problem. But the question asks you yield to maturity. And I'm telling you, yield to maturity is a term we use for interest rate per year. So actually we need to answer this question, we need to report the interest rate per year. So this is for 6 months, just multiply it by 2, it's 10.988%. And this is the interest rate per year, or yield to maturity. I name it yield to maturity. Yep, that's all. This is the way we compute yield to maturity for coupon bonds. Okay, now I want to show you, because I saw there is an intense discussion in the chat box. So let me show you how to, where is my, let me show you how to use the financial calculator again for this question. So as usual, we need, there are 5 parameters. So future value, and here actually we have present value, means today's price, and we have PMT or coupon payments, and we have N, and we want to compute yield to maturity or interest rate, right? It's the same in market interest rate and yield to maturity are the same thing. I mean, the different contexts, right? So when you talk about, when you want to compute price, you put in market interest rate in the formula. But yeah, when you want to compute your earning on this bond, this is called yield to maturity. Now, here $1,000 future value, and what is the present value? 928.09, and payment. So it's the same question. Payment, coupon payment 10%. 10% of $1,000 means $100. Then N 15 periods till maturity, and now we want to compute yield to maturity. So again, we reset the financial calculator. So by on and off, you cannot reset it. So you press second, then reset or plus minus, then enter, then second, quit, right? Now, I enter 1,000. I assign to FV, future value, here, future value. No, future value I think is here, right? So future value, right? Then PV. Oh, I want to show you something interesting. Let's see this. Oh, where is my eye? So 928.09. I assign this to PV. Where is PV? Is here. I assign it to PV. Then 100 to PMT. PMT is here. So PMT. And 15 to N. N is here. And now CPT. CPT means compute. Compute what? Compute interest rate or yield to maturity. And I got error. I got error. Oh my God, I got error. What happened? I got error. What happened? Who can answer what happened? So what happened here? This may happen to you too. Let me make my face a bit bigger. So I do it again. Oh my God, what? Because some of you didn't see my face. It was too small. So again, I got error. Oh my God, what happened? I got error. This is what usually happens in the final exam. Students say, the question was wrong. No, the question was correct. You made a mistake. What is your mistake? Okay, let's make my face smaller. The mistake is, here, you cannot have all as cash inflow. Positive values means cash inflow. Negative means cash outflow. So you cannot receive today money, every period you receive money, at the end you receive money. So what is your contribution? What is your investment, right? So we enter present value as negative, right, into the calculator. Why? This means you pay to buy a bond, and then you will have some cash inflow. You will receive something. So I key in again the values, 1000 into FE, then 928.09, then plus minus will make it negative. Then assign this to PV. So I press PV, then PMT is 100 PMT is here, PMT, then 15, and N, where is N? N is here. Now CPT means compute I over Y, and it's 11%. So it's 11% interest rate, right? What about the semi? The semi, you just adjust. This one is the one cash flow. We already discussed this in the video, right? This one also is the same because it's just one-time payment. It's independent from period and payment. Every year you will receive 100. This means every 6 months we will receive 50. 15 years till maturity means 36 months till maturity. And now compute interest rate again. So you key in the values, and if you do, I have the answer here. I already, before I computed it. And if you do the calculation, this is what you get. So around 5% is the answer you will get if you key in this data, right? This is, you entered everything per period, so the answer you get is per period. So all these are for 6 months. So this is also for 6 months, but yield to maturity is reported per year. So you need to multiply it by 2. So you need to multiply it by 2, right? To get the yield to maturity. So yield to maturity is reported per year. So, but here we key in everything per period. So the answer you get is per period, means per 6 months. But what you need to report as, so when they ask you what is the interest rate, you always need to report to people per year. So I just multiply it by 2, around 10.99% or whatever, right? So, yeah, that's all. Let me see here is chat. So guys, there is one more video to compute. I don't remember another thing, maybe number of periods. So the same thing, you just compute number of periods, right? I will post it on times. Today, no time to show you some of those interesting videos, funny videos that I prepared, because for the midterm test, guys, it's MCQ, most of them. Yeah, I have not finalized the questions, but yeah, it's mostly MCQ. So during the lecture time, you need to be online. Make sure you're online, make sure your internet connection is stable, and then we will conduct the test. There are both theory and calculation questions. So what I want to do is to share the CAMS code with you to take the attendance, right? What I want to do is to share the CAMS code with you. Guys, by the way, while in the meantime that, so I'm trying to launch it. So I have posted a challenge on my IG, my Insta, my IG. So let's see. The challenge is called "Who knows the campus well?" Actually, not many of you could answer the question. So I post some pictures from the campus, and I want to see who can identify the location. So I have posted a new photo on my IG account. So good to participate. Yeah, later maybe there will be some prizes. Okay, I don't understand your question, Sandra. Can we actually directly divide I over y by 2 if it's, what do you mean by I? Yeah, I'm not sure which question you are referring to, Sandra. You can maybe explain to me. Okay. Oh, you mean you compute per year and then you know. You don't get usually the same answer. Yeah, I got what you mean, Sandra. No, you cannot compute it for a year and then divide the answer. No, you won't get the same answer, right, in most cases. So, now, guys, I want to share with you the CAMS code. Yep, some of you, 5963. Oh my God, many of you already entered the code. Let me share how to share. Hold on, because I already posted it on my IG. My God, where is it? Face display.